We had seen Ampere's circuital law. We had verified that result and we were doing its application. Correct? So we had taken our first case where we were applying Ampere's circuital law and calculating the magnetic field at different points, right? At the points A, B, and C. And these are the conditions. Okay, these are the positions of those points. So the point A is inside the conductor. Okay, point A is inside the conductor, point B is on the conductor, and point C is outside the conductor. In these situations, we had tried to calculate the magnetic field. So for the first case where the point was inside the conductor, we have calculated it. Okay, we have calculated it, and we have got a result where B was directly proportional to the distance, where B was directly proportional to the distance. Okay, now remaining two we had to carry on. Remaining two we have to carry on. Okay, so if anybody is having any doubt, you can just ask now. If anybody is having any doubt, you can just ask now. In yesterday's class, is everything clear, or if still anybody is having any doubt? Still, if anybody is having any doubt, you can just ask now. Okay, so I'm continuing from this point. Okay, we are going to start from the second, where the point lied on the conductor itself. Okay, so case b the B case was when it was for the point B, and R is equal to capital R. Okay, so we had this conductor. The radius of the conductor is capital R. Okay, and from the central axis, okay, the point that we are considering is at a distance small r. Now the point is since on the surface of the cylinder itself, so we can say this small r is equals to the capital R. Small r is equals to the capital R. Fine. Now for this point B, if I draw the loop, considering small r as the radius, this radius, okay, like this, if I draw a loop, okay, considering this as a loop, okay, I was the current that was flowing through it. I is the current, okay, I current is flowing through this loop. Now, if I apply Ampere's circuital law, okay, if I apply Ampere's circuital law, so using Ampere's circuital law, ACL, okay, using Ampere's circuital law, okay, what we have to do, B dot dl, okay, B dot dl is equals to mu naught into I enclosed. Mu naught into I enclosed. Now, what is I enclosed? What is the enclosed current within this loop? What is the enclosed current in this loop? Can you tell me? What is the enclosed current within this loop? Is it I only? Is it the total current flowing through it? Yes. So the current enclosed is I only. So mu naught I. Mu naught I. If we consider B dot dl and we calculate the value of this integral, okay, on the left hand side. So B is uniform, okay, B is uniform and it's not changing. It's not changing at a distance r. So B value I can take outside because this is a constant. And if I integrate it for dl, now, so what will I get? Integral dl if I do. So if I integrate dl, so I'll be getting it as mu naught I divided by, okay, integral dl will be 2 pi small r. So this will become 2 pi small r. This small r is nothing but equal to capital R. The small r is nothing but is equals to capital R. So this becomes my result. This becomes my result. This is my result. If you see here, so B value, okay, this B value is almost constant only, okay. If I consider I as a constant current flowing through it and R is the radius of the given conductor, so this B value is constant. This B value is constant. It's not changing. So for this particular point, this value is not changed. So wherever you take on the surface, the magnetic field value will be mu naught I by 2 pi r. Is the value of magnetic field at the surface of the cylinder. Yes, this is the magnetic field value at the surface of the cylinder. The third case, if I take for a point C, where R is greater than capital R. So that means the point lies outside the cylinder now. The point lies outside the cylinder now. So this is the axis and point lies outside the conductor like this. So if I draw a loop, considering this, so what amount of current is flowing across this loop? Is this complete I flowing? Yes, the complete current I flows across this loop. So if I integrate or if I apply this Ampere's circuital law, which is B dot dl is equals to mu naught I enclosed. So I enclosed, the total amount of current enclosed is I. There's no doubt about that, because this loop consists this complete current I which is flowing across the loop conductor. If I take B value at all the points on this loop, since this is at the same distance, this is from at the same distance, okay, from the conductor, so B value will be same. You can take it outside, and now you can integrate DL. Now you can integrate for DL for a closed loop. So if you integrate DL now, which is of this loop is of radius R, you will be getting it as pi 2 pi R will be equal to mu naught into I. You will have B is equals to mu naught I by 2 pi R. So this is my result here. Here, if you see, this R value changes. This R value you can change, okay? As you move away from the center, as this R value increases, this implies magnetic field value will decrease. And this is very obvious. Suppose if you have a magnet, and you keep iron fillings or iron nails at this point and at this point. So I can say that the magnetic force experienced by the nail A and the nail B. I can say that the magnetic force experienced by the nail A is much larger than the magnetic force experienced by the nail B. So this is what will happen over there. Okay, the magnetic field or the magnetic force, okay, at this point and at this point, if you compare, so the magnetic field will be much weaker than this point as compared to this. So it is inversely proportional to R. Now, if B is inversely proportional to R, we can draw a curve now. We can draw a curve with respect to B as well as R. B versus R curve we can draw. So suppose this is capital R value, and then this will be the curve. You'll have a curve like this, where B is inversely proportional to 1 by R. Now we have got, I'm just summarizing the result now. You just see here. So if I had a conductor, a solid conductor or a wire, see, I'm doing it completely because this is a very important topic. Okay, this is a very important topic. That's why I'm doing it. And this is also given in NCERT as an example. Okay, this whatever we are discussing right now, it is given in NCERT as an solved example. It is given as a solved example in NCERT. Graph is also given over there. Okay, you can refer that also, but we have completed in the class. Suppose this is the axis. This is the axis and we are considering the points now. First point A is here. The second point B is here. The second point B is here. And the third point C is here. Now I want to draw the graph. Now I wanted to draw the graph. Graph of B versus R. B, which is magnetic field, versus R. Okay, B versus R. How will you draw the graph? I'm trying to draw complete. I'm trying to draw all the graphs at one place only. Okay. So this is point B. This is point C. So for A point, what was the magnetic field? For A point, what was the magnetic field value? For A point, what was the magnetic field value? For A point, if you see, the magnetic field value was mu naught I divided by 2 pi r square into R. So B was directly proportional to R. B was directly proportional to R. B was directly proportional to R. Okay. For the point A, this is for point A. For point B, if I write, the magnetic field was given as mu naught I divided by 2 pi capital R. 2 pi capital R. So this B value does not depends, or I can say is a constant value. It is a constant value. It does not depends upon small r value. It does not depends upon the small r value. And at C point, the magnetic field value, you wrote it as mu naught I by 2 pi small r, you wrote. This implies B is inversely proportional to R. B is inversely proportional to R. So this is at point C. This is at for the point C. For this only we are trying to draw the curve now. Okay. We have drawn it before also, but all the 3 points we are covering here. So see here, up to point A, it is directly proportional to R, and it will get its maximum value. It will have its maximum value at the point when small r is equal to capital R. When small r is equal to the capital R, that point will have a maximum value. So this is small r is equals to capital R. This is the radius. So how you are going to draw the curve here? So this will vary linearly like this. And then after that, it will move like this. Okay. Sorry, this will be a curve like this. Okay, this will be a curve like this. So here I can say this B value is inversely proportional to R, and here B value is directly proportional to R, and this value is mu naught I by 2 pi capital R. This is the result. This is the graph which you have to understand. So the conclusion of the above discussion is here on this screen. Okay, the discussion of the conclusion of the above discussion is on this screen. I hope you have understood this thing. If anybody is having any doubt, you just ask now. This kind of graph you have already seen in electrostatics and gravitational field. So drawing such graphs is not new to you. But still, if anybody is having any doubt, you can just ask now. If anybody is having any doubt, you can just ask now. How small r is equals to capital R? I've taken that point, no? See, r is just a distance. R is just a distance. When I take a point on this, when I take a point on this surface, okay? When I take a point on the surface over here, what will be the value of small r? If I say that this is a distance r, small r, okay? If this is a distance small r, so what is the value of small r now? Is it equal to the radius? Is it equal to the radius? Yes. So that's why I'm saying when the point is taken on the surface, that means when the point is taken on the surface, that means small r becomes equal to the capital R. That's why I have put r is equals to capital R. Okay, this small r is just here to show you the distance. It can have a value less than r, it can have a value equal to r, it can have a value greater than r. This is just a variable, I'm telling you. This is just a variable. This is not any particular value. A particular value will be having only by this capital R. This capital R will only have a particular value. This small r will be varying. Small r will be varying as you move away from the center line. The small r value will be changing. Try to understand that. And when you reach here, okay, when you reach here, the small r will attain a value equal to capital R, which is equal to the radius of the cylinder. That's why small r is equals to capital R. Anybody else is having any doubt in this? Is there anyone else who is having doubt in this? In third case, why current remains same? In third case, why current remains same? Okay. Just see this. If this is the current, if this is the conductor and the current flows like this. Okay, let me give you by this example. Suppose if I take certain current wire, certain wires which are having current. Now if I take a loop, this is suppose 2 ampere, 2 ampere, 2 ampere, 2 ampere, all are 2 ampere current. Now if I take the loops, this loop contains what current? Can you tell me? This loop will contain what amount of current? 4. Very good. Very good. Assuming that this is the central axis for this wire. Okay, this is the central axis. Okay. Now you tell me what is the current enclosed by this loop? What is the current flowing through this loop? What is the current flowing through this loop? 8. Okay. Okay. 6. How 6? This is also the current. Now this is also the current flowing through it. Okay. This is also the current. I could not draw it like that, but still it is passing through that wire only. So it is included in that loop. It is not outside that loop. It is inside that loop only. Okay. What is the current passing through this loop? What is the current passing through this loop? Is it 8? Is it 8 now? Yes. So similarly, if I have this conductor, okay, and if I take a loop inside, if I take a loop like this, so the current passing through it will not be complete current passing through the conductor. If I take a loop like this, if I take a loop that passes through the surface, that means all the current will be in this loop. All the current will be in this loop. In this loop, all the current will be there. Now, if I take a loop like this, here also all the current will be included. Here also all the current will be included. But here all the current will not be included. Did you understand now? Okay. Anything else? Okay, so if you have understood this, so let us start with the new topic, which is solenoid. Okay, which is solenoid. This is the second application. Okay, this is the second application of the Ampere's circuital law. That was the first application. This is the second application what we are going to study with the solenoid. So what is solenoid? It looks somewhat like this. It looks somewhat like this. And solenoid, you would have studied in class 10th. Solenoid, you would have studied in class 10th. We will study more about solenoid and we'll try to apply Ampere's circuital law over here. We'll try to apply Ampere's circuital law over here. And we will try to calculate the magnetic field inside this solenoid. Understood? We'll try to calculate the magnetic field inside this solenoid. Fine. Let us do that. So before starting that analysis or applying Ampere's circuital law on solenoid, let us study a few points, few important points about the solenoid. Let's study few very important points about the solenoid. So what we are trying to say here is that this is L, length of the solenoid. This is called as the length of the solenoid. L. Okay. This is the length of the solenoid. And this is called as, this will be called as diameter of the solenoid. Diameter of the solenoid. Understood? Now, what is the constraint here? What is the constraint here, or for what is the definition of the ideal solenoid? What is the ideal solenoid? For an ideal solenoid, the length is very, very large. Okay. Length L has to be very, very, very large as compared to D. This is ideal solenoid. This is ideal solenoid. The length will be very large as compared to the diameter. That is ideal solenoid. I hope this point is very clear to you. This first point is very clear to you. There should not be any doubt with this. That what is the constraint about the size of the solenoid? Is it okay? The second point is, since L is very large, that means it tends to infinite. It tends to infinite for ideal solenoid. Okay. The magnetic field B at points outside solenoid, at points outside solenoid, is 0. This is also a very important point. This is also a very, very important point. Since L is infinite for ideal solenoid, the magnetic field at points outside solenoid is 0. Let us understand this thing, what I'm trying to say here. Let us understand this point. This may not be clear to most of you. Let us understand this point. Now, just now I told you that this solenoid is very, very large. Its length approaches infinite as compared to D. As compared to D, its length is very, very large. Now, if its length is very, very large, okay, if I draw lines, if I draw magnetic field lines like this, because It will go inside and then it will return like this. Then it will return like this. Correct? Suppose if this is South Pole and this is North Pole. So the magnetic field lines moves from north to south outside the magnet, and inside the magnet it is from south to north. Then only they are forming a closed line. So this is how the magnetic field lines will be drawn. This is how the magnetic field lines are drawn. Now, if this solenoid is very, very large in size, if it is very, very long in size, so can you tell me, can you think that this line, the line which is going inside, the line which is inside, okay, the line which is inside this solenoid, will it get a chance to return back to the north-south pole? Yes. Do you think that these lines which are moving inside the solenoid, if this solenoid is infinite, so will these solenoid get a chance, or will they return back and will they come back to South Pole? No, they will not. And because they are not coming back, okay, so the magnetic field lines outside the solenoid, the magnetic field lines where I'm drawing these straight lines, will be considered to be zero. And what is the reason for this? That since the magnetic field, since the solenoid is very, very large, the lines continue to move within the solenoid itself. This is just a hypothesis. This is just a hypothesis, as there is no ideal solenoid. Okay. So this magnetic field lines will continue to move in a solenoid itself. It has to come to the end in order to return back, towards the South Pole. If this is south and if this is north. So actually when they will return, then only here there will be a magnetic field. No? If they are not returning back at all, then how there will be a magnetic field? There will not be a magnetic field. And this can only happen when you take this length very, very large. This will only happen when you take this length very, very large. So this is just an argument that we make, okay, that since L is very, very large for ideal solenoids, the magnetic field points outside the solenoid is considered to be zero. So at all the points in the magnetic field, at all the points outside the solenoid, the magnetic field value will be considered to be zero. Did you understand this point? The second point? Did you understand the second point? Anybody is having any doubt in this? Fine. Now let us go on to the calculation or analysis of the solenoid using Ampere's circuital law, and we will try to calculate the magnetic field at the point inside the solenoid. We'll try to calculate the magnetic field due to long solenoid, okay, inside the points. So this is magnetic field due to solenoid at the points inside it. Magnetic field due to long solenoid. So we have to consider the loop. So I'm just drawing it here. Okay. Here you have to consider few terms. Before starting this derivation, here you have to consider few terms which we will be using while deriving. This will be the direction of current entering into the solenoid, and from this side the current will come out. So clearly I can say the current will move like this in this direction. It will move like this. Everywhere it will move like this. I hope this is visible to you. These lines are visible to you. Or let me try with the red color. Okay, red color is even not visible. Black. Anyway, blue is better. This way. Can you see it now? This is how the direction of currents are. Now we will take the loop. Now we will consider the loop. And how we are going to consider the loop, you just see that also. I'm taking a loop like this. I'm taking a loop like this. So this is the loop, which is A, B, C, D. A, B, this is C, and this is point D. So the loop direction is A to B, B to C, C to D, and D to A. This is how the loop direction is A, B, C, D. See, wherever if you are having any confusion in solenoid, you just ask, because this is a very, very important topic. Anywhere, if you have any doubt, a small doubt also, you just ask. Don't wait that I will, at the end you will ask. If you ask at the end, you will not be able to understand this complete topic, because this is a very, very important thing. How did I take the loop? Okay. See, this CD should lie within the loop, within the solenoid. Okay. The CD point, the CD length should lie within the solenoid. AD and BC should be vertical, and AB is outside the solenoid. AB is outside the solenoid. So what we are trying to do, we are trying to take this loop as that we can cover all the points. We can cover all the points, and then we will analyze. It. Because this is a, see, the current is moving like this, na? The current moves like this. The displacement of the current is like this. Okay. So if the current displacement is like this, so how actually you can take the loop? How actually you can cover all the currents? How you can cover all the currents? By this method only. By this method only. Suppose if you are having so many rings like this. Okay. If you are having so many rings like this, so how can you hold? You can hold between your two fingers. You can hold it between two fingers. Yes. You will make you will hold it like this only, na? That within your two fingers like this. All the rings. So that is what, this is the loop only. This is the loop you have taken. Did you understand? If suppose this is the loop, what I'm trying to draw over here is, if this is one loop, suppose, okay, this is another loop, this is another loop like this. Okay, now how will you hold this? You will put your fingers like this, na, inside it. You will put your fingers like this, and you will try to hold it. So this is your palm. So how you have made this loop? How you have made this loop? Like that only I am making the loop. Like that only we are making the loop over there. Is it okay? So CD is in and AB is out of the loop, correct? The direction indicated in the loop represents the direction of magnetic field. No, no. the direction in the direction shown, okay, the direction shown does not represents the direction of the magnetic field. What is the direction of magnetic field? We will see it later. What is the direction of the magnetic field? We will see it later. Okay. The direction of magnetic field is not very important here. We will see after this. We will see just after this how to find out the direction of the magnetic field. If you have a loop, if you have a solenoid, it does not only depends upon how the current is flowing. It also depends upon how the coil is there, how the coiling has been done. After this solenoid and toroid, one more topic will be there. So after that, we will see. Now, AB is moving out. AB is out. AB is out. Yes, AB is out of the solenoid. AB is out of the solenoid. Here, if I apply Ampere's circuital law, which is B dot dl is equals to mu naught I. And now I have to take enclosed current. Now I have to take enclosed current. Remember this equation. We have to calculate the enclosed current. So the main thing over here is to understand the enclosed current. If you understand the enclosed current, everything will be very easy for you. Let us assume that this solenoid has n turns per unit length. Okay, this has n turns per unit length, n turns per unit meter. Okay, and the loop length, the length of AB is assumed to be x. Now, how many number of turns will be there in x length? Number of turns in x. Number of turns in length x. Yes. How many number of turns will be there in length x? Will it be n into x turns? Will it be n into x turns? Okay. It will be n into x turns. If there are n into x turns, so how much current will be flowing? If one loop is having current I, the total current in nx turns, the total number of current in nx turns is nxi. If one loop has current I, then nx turns will have how much current? Nx into I current. Okay, so this is the total amount of current enclosed by that loop. This implies I enclosed is nothing but nxi. If you have understood this point, so everything is clear now. We can solve it. B dot dl. Okay, B dot dl. So B, then I can write it as, see here, I can write it as 4 parts. I can write it as in the 4 parts. How will I write this in the 4 parts? It will be for AB. It will be written for AB. Okay, AB into DL plus BC into B dot DL plus integral B dot DL for CD plus integral DA B dot DL. Fine. I'm taking this complete figure again. Just see here. How did we consider our loop? Our loop was like this. Our loop was like this. This is A, B, C, and D. If you check for AB, we are assuming that the direction of magnetic field is like this. We are assuming that the direction of magnetic field is like this. What is the direction of dl vector along AB? What is the direction of AB? So AB dl vector is like this. The direction of AB dl vector is like this. So what is the angle between this B vector and dl vector for AB? Try to understand. This is the AB vector. This is the length of AB. So this is the vector along this. If this is 180, if this is the direction of magnetic field, if this is the direction of dl vector, what is the angle between them? What is the angle between them? 0 degree. Good. The angle between them is 0 degree. Okay. The angle between them is 0 degree. For BC, if you check, okay. For BC, if you check, so BC is downward. BC is downward. BC is downward. What is the angle between BC vector and vector B? Yes. For BC vector and for B, it is 90 degree. Very good. Very good. For CD vector, for CD vector, for DA vector and for B. For DA vector and for B, what is the angle? For DA vector and for B vector, what is the value? DA vector and B vector, it's 90 degree. Okay, good. What about CD vector? What about CD vector? 180 degree. It is 180 degree. Did you understand? Did you understand? Okay. Now, what is the magnetic field outside the loop? What is the magnetic field outside the solenoid? Magnetic field outside the solenoid. Magnetic field outside the solenoid. 0. Okay. So now let us solve this values. Let us solve this values now. For AB, okay, for this integral, what is the value of B vector? What is the value of B vector? 0. Fine. Okay. For BC and for DA, for BC and for DA, theta is what? Theta is what? 90 degree. Now, because this is a dot product, okay, because this is a dot product, so you will use cos of 90. So cos 90 becomes what? Cos 90 will become what? 0. So this also 0 and this also 0. Correct? They both also become 0. You will only have a value for this. You will only have a value for this. So I can write it now. Integral B dot dl for complete loop A, B, C, D, A is equal to, if I calculate the integral B dot dl over CD only, because for rest it is 0. So if you can calculate only for CD, you will get the value. Is it okay? Is it okay? Fine. This is equal to what? Mu naught I. Yes or no? I'm equating this. I'm equating this too. Yes or no? Integral B dot dl. How CD is 90 degree. C to D is what? How is C to D? From C to D you are going like this, na? From C to D you are going like this and B is in this direction. What is the angle between them? One vector is here, one vector is here. What is the angle between them? It is 180 degree, dear. Okay. AB is 1. AB is 0. AB is 0. Magnetic field outside will be 0, na? See, BDL cos 0 only you will use. But what is the value of B? This has become 0. This has become 0 because outside magnetic field is what? Magnetic field outside will be 0. That's why this is 0. That's why that AB is 0. That's why that AB point is 0. What is I enclosed within the loop? What is the I enclosed in the loop? Just now we have calculated. What is I enclosed in the loop? It was equals to mu naught nxi. It was mu naught into nxi. So B dot dl, B dl, okay? What is the length of dl? What is the length of CD? 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 X. Length of CD is X. So dl vector should be X now is equals to mu naught nxi. X and X gets cancelled. B will be equal to mu naught n into I. Did you get? Where n is what? Where n is what? N is number of turns per unit length. Okay? Total number of turns divided by length. Total number of turns divided by length. It's not only number of turns, it is number of turns per unit length. It is not number of turns, it is number of turns per unit length. If you want to write this formula in terms of number of turns, so you should write it as capital N I divided by capital L. L is the length of the solenoid. L will be length of the solenoid. This is how if you write in terms of number of turns. If you write this result in number of turns, then you have to write it like this. So this was all about the solenoid. If now you have any doubt, you ask. If you have any doubt now, you can ask. Okay. Anybody is having any doubt with the definition of the solenoid? First, we'll start systematically for solenoid. Anybody is having any doubt with the definition of the solenoid? What I'm asking that you reply first. Anybody who is having any doubt in the definition of the solenoid? No one is having? Okay, after this, I'll not explain if you ask how this is 0, how the magnetic field outside the point is 0. If you ask after this, I will not explain you. Okay. How we have considered the loop, you have understood? How you have considered the loop, you have understood? Okay. Now, how BC and DA is cancelled? How BC and DA is cancelled? Is this a dot product or a cross product? Roshini. Yes. Is this a dot product or a cross product? Cross product. I want you to answer. Is this a dot product or a cross product? This one. This one is a dot product or a cross product? Dot product. So if this is a dot product, so what you will write about this now? This, can you write it as B dl cos of theta? Yes. What is theta? Theta is the angle between B and DL. What is DL? DL is the length of that part. DL is the length of that part. Okay. Now, DL is the length of that part. Wait. Yes. Now, just see this BC and direction of BC. What is the direction of BC now? What is the direction of BC? BC has this direction. What is the direction of magnetic field? Magnetic field is in this direction. What is the angle between them? What is the angle between them? 90 degree. So cos 90 is what? 0. Is cos 90 0? Okay. So that's why that point is 0. For BC and for DA, for BC and DA, DA is in this direction, magnetic field is in this direction. This is D to A point, and magnetic field is this direction. Angle is 90 degree. Magnetic field is in this direction, okay? And BC is in this direction. B is here, C is here. So the angle again is 90 degree. That's why B dot DL vector, B dot DL vector becomes 0 because of angle is 90 degree. How magnetic field is 0? I have explained you, just watch the video. Sir, N is total number of turns. Capital N is total number of turns, correct. Capital N is total number of turns over here. Capital N. Capital N by L is only small n. Okay, capital N by small l is equals to number of turns per unit length. The magnetic field outside is 0. Yes, the magnetic field outside the solenoid is 0. The magnetic field outside the solenoid is 0. This is the only point I had written now. Since L is infinite for ideal solenoid, the magnetic field at points outside the solenoid is 0. If you change the ABCD in loop, this is the only loop, na? What is this? ABCD is not a loop or what? Here, ABCD is not a loop or what? This is a loop only, na? ABCD is a loop only. ABCD is a loop. What is a loop? You start from a point and you get back to that same point. That's the loop. That is the only loop. The ABCD is the loop only. You are integrating about the loop only. If you want to change the shape, if you are asking, your question is wrong. Your question should be if you change the shape of the loop. Okay, this is anyway a loop only. Your question should be if I change the shape of the loop. I hope you are asking about the circular loop. You want to put a circular loop over there, correct? You want to put a circular loop there, correct? Yes. So yesterday, what did I tell you? In Ampere's circuital law, what did I tell you? See this line. See this line. What is this line telling you? Very, very important. On your screen. Can you see this? Amperian loop can be of any shape. So what rectangular loop you have taken, you can take it as circular loop. You can take it as oval. You can take it as any random shape. Your answer will not change. Now the problem is that you want to take any random shape loop, and if you want to integrate, go ahead. You do that. You have to do the integration, but the result will be same. Okay. You don't have to worry about that. Because Amperian loop can be of any shape. That's why we are taking the best easy case what we can do. Okay. I would have taken any random shape also. I could have taken any random shape also. But why didn't we take? Because for integration, we have to do a lot of effort. Because for integration, we have to do a lot of effort. Then you will leave this topic in exam. So we are taking rectangular loop so that this case becomes very, very easy. So today, I guess we have started from here. Meanwhile, you can ask your doubts. But if I take different shape of loop, how can I determine the angles? That is up to you. That's what I'm telling you, na? That's what I'm telling you. That's what I'm telling you. That the result will be same. The result will be same, but the integration, calculating the angles will be then difficult. Everything you will do, na? I'm not going to take any random shape and then calculate. That will be a very typical process. Okay, that will be very typical process, and that will be like almost not possible to analyze. Not possible to analyze other than you simulate that. Other than you simulate over a software. You'll not be able to do that because for every point angle calculation will be very, very tough. One thing. Second thing, you have to integrate. Okay. What you are saying is that how to determine the angle. So angle determination will be for a discrete process. You can do the integration though. Okay. That will be the second way. Doing the integration will give you the result. For integration, you have to just take theta. You have to just take theta. Okay. And once you take theta, you integrate from 0 to 180. You just integrate from 0 to 180. Okay. Take the screenshot. I'll just explain you how from integration you can do it, but still it will be very, very lengthy. Okay. Just take the screenshot. How of the how you will calculate by taking a different shape loop and you'll calculate the angle. First take the screenshots. Anybody else is having any doubt? Yes. Anybody else is having any doubt? Today's homework will you get it from Learnity. Fine. Today's homework you get it from Learnity. Okay, just see here now. So if you take any random shaped loop, okay, suppose I'm taking a loop like this. It's not visible. If I take a loop like this, now you will have a magnetic field only for this part. Okay, just see the complicacy, how much complicated you are making a problem. You will have a magnetic field only for this part. Understood? Only you will have a magnetic field for this part. For remaining part, you will not have. So now what you have to do here is that when you integrate, so from here to here, you will get the magnetic field value, and from here to here, you will not get, because these are at outside points. So now you will cancel it directly. Now you have to integrate from this point to this point. So you should calculate this angle first. And you don't have any parameter, to calculate that. Because you should know that what is the distance, what is this length, in order to calculate the angle. Okay, so this will be very, very complicated. This will become very, very complicated. And that's why in books, you don't have a random shaped loop or a circular loop. Even for a circular loop, you will have the same problem. That's why we take a loop like this. So that this length, and this length simply cancels out, and this is the only length you have the magnetic. That's why we are not taking any random shaped loop, because calculation will become very tough, very, very tough. For that, you have to break it into very, very finite pieces, okay, finite length, and then you have to analyze it. Understood? So with just take the homework from the Learnity. Okay, there are more few points in this. Okay, few important points are there. You just remind me tomorrow. Okay, I'm writing it here for my, so that I don't forget. But still, you have to remind me that there are few important points that I have to tell you in this. Okay, important points. Okay, there are few important points that we have to discuss about this. Okay, so take the homework from the Learnity and try to do all those questions. Thank you.